Hello, friends. This is a test to see if my computer doesn't overload. We figured out the problem. My computer is completely filled with like 100 gigs of 100 gigs of documents, which is ridiculous. We have no clue why that's happening. I think it's that all of my streams that are like 3 hours long are getting saved on my computer, on top of whatever else nonsense that I've been doing. Also, my significant other may or may not have downloaded League of Legends onto my computer. And that thing is like 10 gigs or something. So I am sorry. But what I did do is, thanks to Hilda, we figured out like stuff about encoders and how to do that. So I put the settings to where the encoder is taking up a little less resources on my computer, and we're hopeful that this has helped the problem. But so far, it seems like it has. So let me stop recording because that is definitely adding to the problem. Okay, so my friends, please let us know if you can hear us, see us, and if we're not buffering. But from what I can see, it looks like we're fine. All right, thanks, Liz.
Great.
Whew, can hear you, see you, no buffering anymore. Okay, great. Okay, I really don't want to have to do this again. Ugh, my butt hurts though. Ugh, I need to like break already again. But let us get started with what we were doing. Okay, so what we're trying to do is finish up UDL, right? Are we on Universal Design yet or no? Yeah? I think so. Pull this up. Accessibility and universal design is what we're going to be currently working on. Hilda is going to be looking at the chat and telling us what's going on in the chat, and I'll be sharing my screen. So this is part 2 of our accessibility review, because on YouTube I'm going to have to upload these as 2 separate parts, which is fine, and will work well with us. Also, let us know if you hear an echo, because I don't have my headphones on, so you may or may not hear an echo when Dorlin or Hilda speaks. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Please excuse the fact that you're gonna see OBS because of my cracked screen. Here is the share, and looks like I'm gonna have to update this to the correct screen. Display capture. Ooh. I don't think it's showing the right screen. Yeah, why is that not working? Well, that's annoying. If it's
Thanks
not
for sharing that, Liz.
thing, it's another. All right, there we go. Lord, help me. Okay. Accessibility and universal design. We have a nice 2 to 3 hour stream on this already. So we're going to do like we said we were going to do and go through this very fast. and attempt to make Yankee cards as well to go along with it. Okay. All right. So let's first talk about individual accommodations versus universal design. So that's our first card. What is the difference between individual accommodations and universal design? And I'm going to answer without actually looking at the answer to see if I can remember. The difference between, and unlike Dorlin, I did not pre-study these, so this is like off the top of my dome. Difference between individual accommodations and universal design. Universal design makes sure that at the beginning everyone is included so that there doesn't need to be accommodations. Accommodations is when we're singling out an individual person and giving them tools to help them access something after the fact. Let's see what the slides say.
Sounded good to me.
Universal design is so that everything can be accessed, understood, and used to the greatest extent possible by people regardless of their age, size, or ability. Yeah, we like that answer. And then copy that, paste it into this. And then individual accommodations are basically what I said. And then we're going to go over some of those examples that we got. All right, I'm just adding individual accommodations, something specific that we do for someone having access issues. So an example of that would be like someone can't see the board, so they're given a digital version, but there is no digital version available to begin with. And then the universal design would be more like we have access to the material digitally, we have it in large print, we have it tactily, we have it verbally, right? So there's different ways to access it, and you won't need an additional resource to access the actual thing that you're looking at.
Yeah, and you don't have to request it.
Right.
It's just there.
Because requesting it, the act of requesting in and of itself is one that is extremely stressful for the person who's going through it.
Which I think would be nice, would kind of ties to what Liz sent for process principles and applications of universal design article by Washington. What is that? By Do It. Disabilities, Opportunities, Interworking, and Technology from Washington Education.
Do it.
Okay.
Right?
So
I like it. Just do it.
We're going to play the game. Individual accommodations versus universal design. All right. We're just going to spit it out as soon as you can think of what the answer is. Ready? Ready.
Let's go.
Number 1, selecting fieldwork sites that are wheelchair accessible. Is that universal design or an individual accommodation?
Universal design.
Right. Providing a note taker.
Accommodation.
Mm-hmm.
Making your class notes and outline available electronically.
Universal design.
A flexible attendance policy.
Universal design.
Requesting open captioned videos.
Accommodation.
Correct. All right. Now we can just move on to the 7 principles of universal design. Now that we understand the difference between what an accommodation is and what universal design is, we understand the importance of universal design because everyone is included under this umbrella versus having to ask for it. And we can ask ourselves, what are the 7 what are the 7 principles of UD? You know what?
Okay.
Do you
Can I
remember
go
them,
through
Dorlin?
these
Because
without... Say that again?
do you remember these?
No, I don't remember them, but I have them under my fingertips
Okay.
for our study purposes.
Gotcha. Hilda, do you remember them?
The only one I remember is the first one, equitable use, and then maybe flexible something. That's it, without looking at your slide. But now I'm looking at your slide.
Yeah, the funny thing
You're
about this is I don't remember
close.
any of it, and I hope that they don't ask. But in case they do, it is equitable use, flexibility
In use.
What I bet, and I'm guessing Emma's not here anymore because I know she's taken the test, but my intuition tells me that they're not going to ask you literally what it is or have you recall, but they're going to talk about the principles and make sure that you like understand the gist of it. So if you understand what it is, you'd understand that all of these things would fall under that anyways.
Yeah, there was an example given in the Discord from someone who had taken the test saying that the test would give like an example of a feature and then gave as the answers 4 of the principles, and you had to select which principle that example would fall under.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
That's good to know.
I can do
Yeah,
that.
and Emma's still here. Emma, you're here! Yay!
Yay, I'm still here. Woo!
Oh, yay!
Honestly, having people in the group who've already taken
What a
the
resource.
CPACC, like my stress level has gone down from them just being like, it's not that bad.
And Emma is emphasizing remembering examples, so that's good to know. Definitely make
Okay.
a note of that.
So remembering examples, we're going to do an example for each principle. Okay?
Sounds good. Are we still going down and just naming all 7 first for this Anki card?
For this one, yes, but it's not important. It's not as
Okay.
important as understanding examples.
That's
So
fair.
like being able to list off all 7 is not as impressive as being able to see like an example and tie it to whatever it is. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about principle 1, equitable use. And my Anki card is going to say example of equitable use. And then UD. And an example would be, so first we have to know that it's all about providing the same means of use for all users whenever possible. So not segregating or stigmatizing any user. Ooh, this is something that like definitely has been on my mind this week specifically, thinking about not segregating people who need additional resources and including them in whatever you're doing, I think is important and easy to overlook. So an example of that to me would be like if someone is using some like assistive technology to access something and they need like a separate meeting to go over what that means for them when they're trying to access something that everyone else is trying to access. A good website example is using semantic markup in all of the appropriate places. So having headings, landmarks, table structures, form labels, and creating a single design that works well for all users. So a bad example, right, would be having a separate website for people using assistive technology, or having a number that people with disabilities can use to call to get help with a website instead of making it usable, which just happened. I feel like that just happened to you, Dorlin.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I've had a lot of this going on recently. I actually just came across a thing trying to order the new COVID tests through the government where I couldn't find a link for it to do it, but I could find a phone number. It's like, I don't want to call a phone number. I want to use a link.
Yeah, that'd be great. I love when it's like, we know that our accessibility is not good and that you can't use our website. Here's a number to call. I'm like, no, gosh.
Or coding something into your website where it says assistive technology should turn off this or follow these steps in order to use the website. It's like, wait, I don't want extra instructions. I just want to get into the site like everyone else.
Yeah, I think that's why next year's study group is going to be so fun, because I just want to be able to be like, why? Why'd you do it like this? Like, that's been my major like force lately. Like, why is it this way? How can we make this better? So I'm going to put examples of equitable use would be semantic markup, making a single design for everyone and not making a separate one for those with assistive tech. Bam. That's it. We're going to move on to flexibility
Nice.
in use.
And if you need more examples, Liz also shared an article on making universal design. And again, going back to not memorize all of this, but remember and understand them. Because Emma saying she wasted so much time trying to memorize them, which I was kind of trying to do too, but maybe really understand what they actually are.
Right. Yeah. All right. So flexibility in use is providing a choice in the method of use. So like accommodating right or left-handed access, facilitating users' accuracy and precision, and providing adaptability to users' pace. Oh man, my back is starting to hurt. Good web examples of this would be like JavaScript's drag and drop widget that can be used with a mouse, touchscreen, or keyboard. A bank website that warns the user 2 minutes before the session is about to expire and gives the user option in extending the session. Target touch being large. Mobile design. Okay. A bad example is a mobile website that has 3 subscripts after each word linked to a footnote at the bottom of the page. Oh my God. We're not going to get into it. I just got triggered for like 2 seconds. Each superscript is tiny and all of them are very close to each other, making it impossible to activate the correct link accurately. Man, there are certain keywords where I just have rage in my heart, and like footnotes is one of them. They're just all right. Drag and drop with usability for mouse, touch screen, and keyboard. That's going to be my example. All right, moving on to principle 3. Simple and intuitive use example. So this one is eliminating unnecessary complexity, being consistent. So this is like navigation, right? Having things where they need to be, not using jargon. So a good example is like clear success confirmation messages when a form is submitted successfully. Knowing when a page is reloaded is another one. Focus actually moving to the error messages. Headings that are clear. A bad example is custom JavaScript, which is widgets that are weird to use, that do weird stuff that is not expected. Form validation that doesn't explain how to fix the error. That's not simple or intuitive, right? Or an error field that covers up the place where you're supposed to input the text.
That's a really
All
good
things
point
we've seen in the
Emma
wild.
mentioned.
What'd you say?
Don't just focus. A really good point that Emma mentioned is don't just focus on digital for universal design.
Say that again. Sorry.
Oh,
She said, don't just focus on digital for universal design. A lot of my question focus on the built environment.
All right. I'm having trouble processing that. I'm going to read the comment.
Don't just focus on the digital.
Yeah,
Like,
so all our examples are from the digital world, and it sounds like we need to also be making sure we're thinking about the physical world when we're thinking about universal design for this test.
Okay, gotcha. I did focus specifically on the digital world for my notes because that's what I was interested in, and that is a good point. So, simple and intuitive use when it comes to these are things that we can infer though, or maybe we shouldn't infer them. Should we go to the body of knowledge? Yes, probably. Let me do that right now because I have it up already.
and as an example of the physical, Liz shared an article about fighter jets that were developed using average measurements from the 1920s that turned out to be an issue, and now they have adjustable cockpits. Another example would be ramps, automatic doors, elevators, automatic taps, signs, etc. It's what Emma mentioned, and thank you, Liz, for sharing that article. I think another one that she provided was an article that she wrote on handful quick accessibility tips for developers on the digital one, at least. So, yeah, definitely we'll be checking those out, and I'll share those with you too, Dorlin, so you can
Ooh,
have
there
them.
is nothing on here
Awesome.
actually for the body of knowledge. It just goes straight into web accessibility. So those are probably things that we should have. They have a lot of links on here. I have the body of knowledge up right
Yeah,
now, and I'm just kind of looking at it. Um, there are a lot of links. So together, we're gonna come up with those things for those who have read it and know it. So, what would be an example for simple and intuitive use in the real world?
I mean,
Thinking about
signage in simple language, or actually the signage with the universal symbols, so that you don't have to speak the language in order to understand the signs. Um,
Okay.
or
ramps or curb cuts. Yeah, that's it. Curb cuts, as Liz mentioned.
I don't think that falls under simple and intuitive
That
use on
wouldn't.
curb cuts. I think that would probably be, well,
Well,
it's good one
equitable.
and two because flexibility in use,
Low physical effort,
depending on,
I think, would be
and
one.
then
Maybe
true. I think some of these things are multiple
they
things are going to
are.
fall
Mm-hmm.
under,
Right.
but um,
Simple and intuitive use.
Perceptible. I'm gonna move on to perceptible information examples. So I this one is use different modes: pictorial, verbal, tactile, or redundant. Okay, this one is my favorite one. So this one is just talking about multiple ways to give information so that everyone can perceive it. And we talked about this already. So thinking about my favorite one is just thinking about if I'm a teacher or a professor or whatever, how am I giving my information, right? So I'm just gonna put teacher example with print, digital, etc., verbal. And then as far as oh, I have another one. A tutorial on how to tie your shoes is presented in text, illustration, and video with narrated instructions. Um,
Cool.
Digital one is ARIA live announcements. When something changes on the screen, just because something changed visually doesn't mean everyone's going to be able to perceive that. So just being able to have that being given to the person in a different way would be good.
Yeah, another one that I can think of is also what Liz mentioned. Well, I was thinking tactile maps, but Liz is mentioning tactile in color pavement in the subway and train stations along the platform. So the bumpy raised dots that make people with vision disabilities aware that the environment is changing. And so there's a drop or a curb cut
Love it.
or a curb, I'm sorry. Yeah, and apparently in the Netherlands, there are many sidewalks where the cars have to go over them instead of pedestrians having to go down to the road level.
Mm-hmm.
It's what Liz mentioned. It can be scary. Yep.
All right, let's do some tolerance of error examples. So tolerance of errors is about arranging elements to minimize hazard and errors, providing warnings of hazards and errors, and fail-safe features. So a good example would be on a financial website. Are you sure you want to transfer funds? Are you sure you want to press what you're going to press? I'm telling you that you may be doing that just in case you're doing it by accident. Or a content management system places deleted items in a recycle bin and allows a user to recover them later if they change their mind. Another thing could be in the physical world. What would you say?
Physical world, making sure those hazards are, if you've got something that I could hurt myself in, having that, roped off, making sure you've got your signs for slippery when wet type things. I think I mentioned this when we talked about it the first time, making sure you don't have low hanging things that us tall blind people can walk into. Or something that would keep me from walking into that.
Right.
So just
Or
protecting people from hazards. Go ahead, Hilda.
I'm also thinking of tactile guideways, which are used in Japan, for instance, where you can they are glued, I guess, or nailed down to the pavement. And so let's say you have one sidewalk, but then it just continues after you cross the street and just kind of not letting, kind of like disorienting people. So if you're going to place something that will provide some sort of tactile information, like make sure that's also letting them know, like, is there a change, what else to do, and not just leave them off so that they are completely so they're not disoriented.
Okay, we're going to move on to low physical effort examples. Low physical effort is about allowing the user to maintain a neutral body position, using reasonable operating forces, minimizing repetitive actions, and minimizing sustained physical effort. So a good example is a website that has a skip to main content link at the top. So people who are using a keyboard can access that without tabbing through 10 million different things that are repetitive. Good heading and landmark structure so that people can navigate by headings or by links or by whatever they want to navigate with. Multi-key commands being simple, having that target touch input gesture stuff. What would you say for the physical world?
Those, I think we call them J handles, those handles that are a lever, as opposed to a knob. Or just having an automatic door, so that someone doesn't actually have to physically open it.
Yes.
I think a lot of times, if you think about just how you're going to turn something on or how you're going to use something, it needs to be low physical effort. So like in a bathroom, something that's got an automatic sink is going to be better than, those old ones where you have to physically turn a knob. And then the ones where you have a lever to pull towards you are going to be kind of in between for ease.
Perfect. I think that's good.
Another one's having shopping carts as well as baskets in stores. Oh, that's a good one, Liz.
I like that
I
one
didn't
too.
think about that. All right, let's move on to size and space for approach and use.
Oh, sorry. One that came to mind, and just so like you can remember that one, are toilets. I went to Brazil once, and they had toilets of different heights. So for children or small, people of shorter heights, and I thought it was pretty cool. So anyway,
That is
That's
cool.
so cute.
I love that.
All right, size and space for approach and use, providing a clear line of sight to important elements for any seated or standing user, making sure all components. Girl, I gave you a whole keyboard.
She says, I want the one warmed by your fingers, though.
She's like laying across the one I gave her though. Like she's purring very hard. She's loving it. This is the best. I can't remember who told me to do this. I think maybe it was Liz, but thank you, Liz, because I forgot that I could just give her her own keyboard. She's just so cute. Okay. Accommodation,
Try putting
variation.
catnip on her keyboard. Catnip on her keyboard. It's an additional tip from Liz.
So I gave her catnip for the first time like 2 days ago, and she went crazy. Like she started rolling across the floor. Like it was so crazy.
Oh.
It was so funny.
Stoned kitty.
She was like, I told my sister, I sent her a video of her like rolling on the floor acting crazy, and she was like, "You're giving my cat drugs?" And I was like, "Yep."
You're a bad influence.
All right. Some examples of
gosh.
size and space would be controls at the front and clear floor space around appliances, wide gates at the subway station to accommodate all users. So this is one that doesn't include digital stuff because it's just for the physical.
Yeah.
Having the appropriate amount of space to open a door, like if you are a wheelchair user, being able to open that door and get into it. So often there's a ramp that goes up, and then like to be able to actually open the door, you're going to block your access to the entrance.
Right.
Those kinds of things. One thing that says here is having enough space to accommodate their people and their mobility devices. So if that's seating at a theater that has room for wheelchairs or for service animals, like when I go to the theater, it's nice when we have extra space for Tank to settle, stuff like that. That
That's
extra
nice.
space.
All right. Those are the 7 principles, y'all.
Woot, woot.
We did it.
We did it.
Okay. So now we're going to go and we're going to talk about the relationship between accessibility, usability, and universal design. Okay. I'm going to try this one. Universal design is creating something that everyone can use from the beginning. Usability is, universal design encompasses everyone. Usability is how usable the actual product is, meaning can people access it and use whatever it is, but it doesn't always put into mind people with disabilities. It's just like a blanket, like, can people use this? Doesn't always include people with disabilities, though. Accessibility is the ability to access whatever it is that you need, or to just to be able to like get your hands on it or maneuver it or whatever it is you have to do with it. So the relationship between all those things is accessibility is kind of like the umbrella of which those two things are not, I wouldn't call it an umbrella, but like accessibility is usability and universal design. The key differentiator between usability and universal design is that usability doesn't account for disability. And I feel like maybe yes. Is that it? Did I get that right?
Generally, I think like you said, universal design is that the space can be used by the greatest amount of people, no matter, ability or any characteristic.
Okay, I have it pulled up. Ready for the answer, y'all?
Let's do it.
Accessible design. Design process in which the needs of people with disabilities are specifically considered. Important. Universal design is a little bit broader, and it's for everyone. Usable design thinks about efficiency. Is it effective? Doesn't always include people with disabilities. right, add that to my Anki card. Benefits of accessibility. We don't have to go through that. We're going to skip that because we know. We should be able to spout out like 10 different things. I think we'll be good off of that. Let me see if there's anything in here. Nah, that's too long. Too long, and we already know it if we're here at this point. Okay, so next we're going to talk about web accessibility specifically, but I absolutely need a break. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make us big for 2 seconds, and I'm going to check on the chat just to see if there's anything interesting in here. Blah, blah, blah. Nope. Alrighty, my friends. Take yourselves. Let me see what we got going on. It is 3:18 my time, and we need to do web accessibility, talk about the poor guidelines, and don't freeze on me yet, computer. There we go. Started to buffer again. Of course it did. All right, we're overloaded officially, y'all. I see it on my computer. It's definitely how much space I have. We might have to stop here. Let me just go into the chat real fast.
I think it's probably getting pretty
I
late for
know
Hilda too.
we've done like 3 hours.
A little bit. A little bit. It's okay though.
Yeah.
It's always fun. So
Okay. Yeah. It's might be for sure. I'm gonna just stop the stream really fast. Let's see if my computer's like really going through it. Okay. So right now we just have accessibility. Yeah, my computer's rolling. No. All right. Yeah.